We've been watching the early episodes of One Piece, and in like the 4th episode, Lucky Root literally shoots a guy in the head.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere. He's eating meat, and he just smokes a guy. And then everyone's like, wow. And they're like, we're pirates.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the X3 podcast. I'm Xell.
And I'm Ducky.
And today we have a very special guest. Cue camera cut. We've got Eggman. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good.
It's hot, man.
It is hot. We chose just the best days to film.
Absolutely. Just scorching impel down levels of heat.
It's hot in here, but maybe it's because Hayden's here.
It's true.
We said the sexiness level was already like on the level, right? I gotta tone it down for you guys.
The sex appeal is peaking.
Yeah, might have to cut everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, today we are going to be drinking the Haterade.
And as a special moment, because of our momentous occasion, I've brought us just a little bit of Haterade. I've got the Zoro flavor. I've got the Katakuri flavor. And last but not least, I've got the Nami flavor.
Oh.
Yeah. So what flavor would you like, Hayden?
Oh, boy. One, I did not know about this beforehand. You did a good job. But I do appreciate the zero sugar. So that's,
absolutely.
That's pretty good. Zoro, I think, is probably the one that suits me the most.
All right.
Okay.
So.
And you're the Katakuri guy.
Yeah, I'm the Katakuri
and I'm the
guy.
Nami guy.
All right.
So I got to have the blue Haterade.
We got to have the Haterade.
Yeah, you did a good job putting those on there, too. Like that's...
Yeah, when he brought these in, I was like, how did you print these out? This is impressive. This is impressive work.
I was looking for, you know how Gatorade has like, a electrolyte thirst quenching beverage of no particular brand.
Yes, sure.
Has like straight bottles. I couldn't find the zero sugar version of the straight bottles. They only had this curved one, so the label looks absolutely cursed.
Yeah. I usually get the zero sugar ones. Yeah, it's only this slimming figure.
Man. I don't know why. Why it just looks like a dame.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the curves. That's why you're getting Gatorade Zero.
Yeah.
But anyways, to get back to the topic at hand, today we're going to be discussing our most hated leaders. And you want to set it up a little bit?
Yeah, totally. So today I've kind of prepared an episode filled with pure, unadulterated vitriol, with hatred, with contempt, disgust, and revulsion, if you would, Hayden. We're ranking the most hated leaders in the One Piece card game.
Yeah.
And normally we would run this via tier list, courtesy of Cardi Kaizoku. But today, I've prepared a single elimination bracket to crown the most rotten tomato of them all.
Yeah. We've pulled them in. This is like Squid Games, you know?
Yeah.
Only one may stand.
Only one.
And by the end of today, we'll know exactly who the most hated leader in One Piece is.
Absolutely. So I'll maybe just get us started here.
Yeah,
with round one.
Round one.
Begin. We've got Yellow Katakuri from OPO3 versus our newly honk, king of the insects, Buggy. Katakuri versus Buggy. I'd love to hear from our noble guest, Hayden Percival Williamson VII, if I may use your biblical name.
Yeah, it's crazy how accurate that is. Yeah. Well, first, I think we do want to mention, too, we're not choosing any purple Luffys, right? For this top 16, just because they are pretty new. I know commenters a lot, so they're just like, oh, where's purple Luffy? We guys know that you guys don't hate that card. You hate Gum Gum Giant, right?
Yeah.
So that's not a leader.
There's just recency bias. We're trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
Right? We want the most true, like, hatred, pure, unadulterated, right? Like, the new stuff, it's too new.
Yeah, it's too new. I've only seen like a little bit of hate for it. I need to see the full on, like, it's July 31st. I've gone Gum Gum Giant 4 times this game. Like, what's going on?
I want just hatred from the histories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want historic levels of hatred. I don't want this new modern stuff. I think this new modern hate's kind of soft. I like this. I like this historic stuff.
Yeah.
Except we have Buggy, so I guess there's a little bit of recency bias.
He came out in OPO9, right?
That's true. That's true. He's not a brand new leader.
So I would say for him, I also am kind of biased. You guys are more kind of playing against it. I have more so of where does this be on my tier list if I don't mention the leader, if I do mention it, if there's a leader that I think should be good but isn't, like that's kind of where my hatred is against like you guys mostly playing against it. I think the only thing with Buggy is that the only hatred I've really seen about it so far is that we didn't get the promo on time, and that was like the Buggy players were supplying the hatred, not necessarily anyone else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were waiting. For whatever reason, we get the promo so late. We still don't have that Law 2K promo that like all the Eustace Captain Kid players have been pining about.
I just need to know, with that Buggy promo, why has he got his shoes like that? Like, what is that?
I really did. I mean, that's why we call it shoe Buggy, right? Like, it is transformed the artwork, which is fun, right? When we don't have any other identifiers, right? To be able to call it shoe Buggy, and everyone's like, yeah, I know what that is. I don't know why they chose that art. It was really peculiar.
Wacky. He looks like he's up to no good.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're all circling the drain. It's Katakuri, right? No question. I think that's the...
Man. I think that it's got to be Katakuri.
Yeah.
I have no hatred in my heart for Katakuri.
I think it's got to be Katakuri. I think because of how historically hated he is, right?
Yeah.
Like through so many formats.
You know, that's a good thing to bring up. Are we talking about the people or are we talking about me?
Oh, we're talking about the people, the streets.
People.
The people.
Oh, the
yeah.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Katakuri, no question. No question.
Yeah.
If this was on me, Buggy's gone.
Yeah. I do think that there's also like Katakuri was like the poster child for Yellow from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
it was the viable leader. It's still viable, right? Like just the fact that 10 drop Big Mom is still like a card that does things, right? There are still people who are like Page ruined the card game, and Katakuri was the leader to use it first. So I'd say like Katakuri hate. It's kind of tempered off a little bit recently, but it's always been, I think, around.
Because at the time, it was like, if you heard anybody complain about playing One Piece, it was like, I queued into a Katakuri and he Beige out of life, Zero Cost out of life, Kiku out of life, Satori out of life. They're just complaining about triggers, how Mom is so broken. For one Don, you get another Don's worth of value. Like, it's crazy.
How dare
right?
you? Yeah. How dare you have that value? No, the thing that was very funny to me when Katakuri, like, because I started around OPO4, and this was back for people who weren't playing back then. OPO3, OPO4 was dominated by 3 red decks, right? And we'll get to some of that later, but they were just the dominant decks, and of course most people hate the most dominant decks, and we were sick of this red meta, and yet people hated Katakuri in that meta over these other ones.
And
so it's got to be
there's also, so this is one little history tidbit too. We had that 1 month, right, of November of 2023 or whatever, where we got a ban list and they reversed it the day after, or at least they said that at the end of the month it's gone, right?
Oh yeah, this was like 4.5, right?
After the emergency ban.
Well, so there was like 4.0, and then there was like 4.1, which was the ban list, but then have started at 10, which was for like a weekend, but it was also like the largest event of the month. And then they had like this other format, and like everyone's just like, oh, with red gone, Katakuri is going to be dominant. Everyone's getting hit by 10 moms. Like that was the vibe of the scene. And then it was still a balanced meta. We never really fully fleshed it out, but the hate was definitely doubled down.
I remember that event because it was Pasadena.
It was Pasadena.
And I believed the haters. I was like, Katakuri, he's the best.
Yeah.
And then I queue into Strongest Wizards Green Kid. And then for my winning in another Green Kid, I was like, I cannot stand this.
That whole event was dominated by Green Kid. I saw so many of them.
It was just green decks in general. It was like Green Kid
punching you,
Green Purple Doffy, I think. Good times. But
so,
Katakuri.
Let's go Katakuri. I'm going to go ahead and report scores. We're going to move Katakuri forward. Submit. Let's see if this works. Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's got a little animation.
Yeah,
too.
It's got a little cool animation. And then next round 2, we've got Vegapunk versus Teach.
Oh man, who did the seeding on this? Because I think Teach dominates this.
I randomized the seeding entirely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people hate Teach. Like from the start, I think by the time they announced his leader, everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
I can't use on plays." And what's funny is like I think over time in One Piece, like we've moved to everything needing on plays, and that makes sense, right? You get your value right away, and then here comes old Meanie, the bully on the playground, and he goes, "No, you can't do that. I'm going to discard a card, and now your cards do nothing," and people hate that.
Yeah, like just not the feeling of not letting your opponent do anything is awesome for the player, but for on the receiving end, it's just so frustrating. Like I'm not allowed to play the game. I'm playing this on play card because it has a great on play. I can't do anything now. That feels pretty bad, right? So I think people just hate playing against Teach.
Yeah, I super agree. Like any deck like that, especially like with the amount of consistency that it has among other things. So, when it came on OP09, like, 4 mats over, and then like it wasn't, and then like OP10 came, and then it was like, maybe the best deck in the format compared with like Shanks and stuff. I think like it's like balance wise, it's fine, right? But I will say like a personal anecdote. Like I was testing a deck. I was testing like a Nami deck that had 9-cost Sanji as like the core of it.
Yeah.
And I just ran a match into 4 Blackbeards in a row. And like the 5th guy, I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. I never do this. This deck needs on plays. I just need to test. I'm just testing, and your deck is fine. I'm not upset with you, but like that's what I wanted to say. My first message is, hey, listen, I got to do something, and then he just like disconnected immediately. So because he knows, he knows that me even sending a message is too kind for the people who want to play the game. So I think Teach is clear. Like Vegapunk is obnoxious at times, and like if you've never played it, like the first time you play against it, you feel stupid sometimes.
Yeah, because you just don't know how the deck works. You're punching their life. Bodies are coming out. They're healing. It's just it's yellow at its core. You know what I mean? It's just triggers out of life, and I just get to play them for free.
But yeah, in comparison to Teach, the bully on the the playground, Vegapunk's just the weird one, off in the corner. Like, most people have not even played against a Vegapunk. When's the last time you remember? Actually, I played against 2 Vegapunks like a month ago.
Yeah.
I've definitely played them this week, but the thing is, like, even like peak gameplay, if you want to play against it, you just kind of like play stuff and wait, and then like we like stare down each other, and then eventually someone tries to
explodes,
go for game. Yeah, so like it's like you're going to time, like I'm really not doing anything. Like it's not like my favorite game plan, but at least I usually get to use my game plan. So
yeah, I mean that's a good point too, right? Is when you're in tournament and the 30 minutes are up and you're going in overtime. Hey, time in the round or turns, whatever comes first. You look at whoever's still playing. There's like 3 players. They're all Vegapunk players.
It's true.
They all go to time.
It's true.
So that there's a point there for if you hate just waiting on Vegapunk players because they're just stalling. They're just absolutely stalling.
I won't say they're doing it on purpose, but they're also like they can heal off their leader effects. So when in-game procedures are like, well, who has more life?
Exactly.
Vegapunk, he's got 13 life.
We both have 2. So I have 3 now. I win. Like
there's a stack. You're like, oh, is that his deck? No, that's his life.
Yeah.
It's just stacked up because there's not enough space on the mat.
But he started at 2.
yeah. But I think
biggest
we all
lie
agree.
ever. Yeah. When you look at the Vegapunk card, it says 2, but it's really like 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only other vitriol with it is that he got one of those character cases, and he doesn't attack. Like, what's the point of a character case?
True. Yeah.
That's like such a weird thing to be like nitpicky about. But I'm like, when am I going to click it? When I use my leader ability? Like,
That's true. Yeah. But I think we all agree here.
Yep. Teach blows this one out of the water.
Blows it out of the water. All right. So we're going to go ahead and report the score, and Teach will move on.
Yeah. This is a 2-0 matchup.
Yeah.
All right. Next up. Oh, we've got kind of a heavy hitter here. We've got RP Law versus Blue Doffy.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. I feel like, you know what, the West kind of is... We're getting the haterade out. Yeah, that's true. These other leaders we've talked about so far, like I don't really I don't harbor that much hatred for them, but I know these guys, RP Law and Blue Doffy, there's a lot of hatred for these guys.
You know, this is supposed to quench my hate. It did nothing of the sort. I hate RP Law. My God, what an obnoxious leader. You get to just bottom something and play something for free? What an obnoxious leader.
He's pretty good.
That guy got to be so busted. I'm sorry. Like, for Blue Doffy, I have played kind of historically a bad matchup into Blue Doffy in Purple Luffy.
Sure.
For like 2 formats straight. That deck has never bothered me. Like, yeah, I get it. Jinbei into Law, into Weevil, into Boa. Like, it's annoying, sure. But you can fight it. With RP Law, he just bottoms your board. I have nothing to fight you with. It's obnoxious.
Yeah, like clearly, like I think there's a reason like for why the leader was banned, right?
Yeah.
I think the reason I would hate it more is that it was clearly doing very well in Japan, right? For a long time, for most of their format, it was I would say approaching, if not a tier 0 format.
Yeah.
So when we got the restriction, we got it at a weird time, right? We got it early, and we got it before like the biggest event of the year at the time. So like I know a lot of people are also upset at the leader because they've been grinding that leader. This is the chance to use it at a super high level, and now you have to kind of hard switch to something else, right? So I think that was rough. And then there were a lot of people like, oh, I never got to play Law fully powered up with Black Maria, that kind of, and I'm like, it was not a good format.
Yeah, why would you
why are you pining for that?
I've had to argue this so many times. I'm like, I'm sorry that you didn't get to play the deck that you wanted to, but it is a net positive for the game that this happened.
Why are you pointing your finger at me? What is up
you
with
want
this?
that? Like, you want that?
Oh no, no!
I did not want
I thought you were calling me out because I played that deck. I was like, no, I didn't want that.
You did play that.
I did play that.
You did play. Did you want that? Did you want that?
I did not want. When Black Maria was announced and I saw all the tournament reports from Japan, I was like, nope. I want to stay as far away as possible. And I think in that way though, I feel like RP Law escaped a lot of the hatred that it would have gotten had we seen it at its full power. Blue Doffy, we saw at its full power, and people hated that. I'm actually kind of split on this one.
Really?
I actually think maybe Doffy is more hated than RP Law.
Oh, just because we saw the full power of it where the West didn't see the full power of RP Law.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hayden, what do you think? You're the kind of
I feel the tiebreaker already. So I think like both are arguable. I think people can hate both pretty easily. I think RP Law is a little bit more, and that's on my personal side because again I saw outside the game a bit more just people like, man, these should never have banned this leader. You know, people needed to adapt. I'm like, I don't know how to adapt to like not losing it.
Yeah, how do you adapt to not having a board?
It's so crazy because I remember playing in OP05. I think it was OP05, and I was playtesting with our good friend Jansuko, and he's the Law guy. This was before RP Law was even good. He had no support whatsoever. He was just like a brand new leader that kind of got released with ST13.
Yeah.
And I was playing against him, and he was just bottoming my stuff, playing out cards, re-ramping, bottoming my stuff, playing out cards, 5 lead, 7 lead. Oh, that's a Rush Zoro, 7 lead again. I'm like, oh my, this is obnoxious. This deck isn't even good. And I hated myself. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think this was like pre-Bond Clay, pre-Kid and Killer, all these other cards that were insane for that deck specifically. And I remember you were like, this deck might be a problem already.
Yeah, I was because I feel like nobody played the leader at the time because it had no support, and then Justin only played it because it's Law.
Yeah,
and I played against him. I'm like, this deck is going to be a problem for sure. This is going to be a problem. And then Jansuko also played me that night with Red Black Sabo, and I'm like, this deck is a problem. Turns out, not that big of a problem. So I was wrong. But all right, Red Purple Law will move on here.
This is a split vote though.
Yeah, I think this is close. I don't think
it's close.
Yeah, and there's definitely some recency bias for I think Doflamingo a little bit, but
definitely
for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't think Doffy is that bad. I think.
How much do you hate RP Law personally?
On a scale of what?
I don't know. Like, take a sip for every ounce of hate. Actually, don't drink the whole thing.
Yeah, he's gonna drink the whole thing.
You need to leave some for the next round. Next round.
Oh my God! Speaking of the next round, we've got OPO3 Blue Nami versus Bonney.
These are heavy hitters.
This is like seed 1 and 2, maybe.
I think Nami's definitely in the top 4. They're just. It's just like the thing where like there are a lot of people who just don't like alt win conditions. It's so polarized, right? You either love it, like live by it, or you just dislike the fact, right? It's kind of like Teach where you prevent them from getting their game plan, right? It was weird that it was also released in OP3 because it's a deck that doesn't hit triggers, and so like Katakuri is like, they're not hitting me. Like, what?
Yeah.
I was supposed to see, like,
that's true.
I'm, pair of sparrows on the top of my life. I know it's there. Please just hit me once.
Please.
So, but yeah, like Nami's just always been around. A lot of these leaders too are just like leaders that I will generally say they're in like this pristine, like these decks are never bad. Like there will be people who still play it. Nami's definitely there. Nami's still winning events in English meta and Japanese meta, as we saw earlier this month too. So because Nami's been around, I think there's just been like a generation of just people who dislike playing against the deck, right?
That's true. Yeah, I feel like the generational hate against Nami is so crazy. It's just distilled hatred.
People have been hating this since day one, and I swear people just don't want to learn the matchup. They think it's solitaire, and so they're like, "Oh, no matter what I do, they just mill themselves and blah 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 blah." And I mean, I'm just saying, if you guys learn the matchup, it's actually quite interactive.
Yeah, it's such an interesting matchup.
And so I've always thought that Blue Nami was overhated, but boy, it's hated.
I do also. I agree with you there. Definitely overhated, but very, very hated for sure. Yeah. That being said, I hate Bonney.
I know you hate Bonney more than anything.
Bonney. You guys hate Bonney with me. Say you hate Bonney.
I don't think anyone hates Bonney players more than Bonney players. Like that's always my expectation. Like Russell plays Bonney and like, hey, do you like it? It's like, no, I hate this leader, but I'm committed to it 100%. Right? Like it's just a pile of cards, right? Like the leader effect is great if they're it's getting more and more consistency, but Green just has like this weird issue where they have to run so many non-counters, they can't do anything with their they're stuck in their hand, right? They have access to Hody and Kid, two of I think the most non-leader hated characters in the game right now. So I get why like Bonnie's like the poster child for those cards too, but
emphasis on child.
Yeah. So I understand the disdain for it, but like when I look at like tournament results, no one's like, oh, Bonney topped or whatever. Whenever people's like, how did you let Nami win this event? I've read that comment word for word. I'm like, what do you mean let? It's a good deck. Or I'll have someone over who plays Nami like, why did you play the Nami game? It's uninteractive. Like if you watch the game, like he is like going through the plays, like he's showing like this is not just me drawing the cards and getting Impel All-Stars out of my life. So though I hate that card. That card actually might tip it a little bit for me on that
All-Star specifically?
Specifically, yeah.
It's just the trigger.
Yes, just the trigger for that card. Yeah, it is rough for me.
I love that card is absolutely basically unplayable in like 99% of scenarios, but you play it anyways because the trigger's so good.
Yep. Because you play so many filter cards, right?
Yeah.
So like you're trashing cards constantly from your hand, so it's okay to just have a dead card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is if the trigger's that good. Yeah, I was gonna say about Bonney though, is I feel like Bonney gets extra points for hatred because for whatever reason, there are just diehard Bonney stans. You know what I mean?
I don't know why.
And I don't really understand where it comes from.
Yeah.
But the FBI might.
We're on to you. We're on to you.
So I think Bonney gets a couple extra points, but there's just no way. Blue Nami has to be. I'd be surprised if it wasn't like top two. I expect to see it make it all the way to the grand finals today.
Yeah, Bonney. I hate Bonney more than anybody on this planet. In the whole Milky Way galaxy, I hate Bonney more than anybody. But if we're talking about the streets, we're talking about the people. Blue Nami's got to move on, right?
Yeah, I think it has to be Blue Nami.
1000%.
So Blue Nami moves on to the next round, and next up we've got honestly another heavy hitter here. We've got some just disgust here. We've got OPO5 Belo Betty versus OPO7 Lucci.
Both of these leaders are leaders that you flip your leader at your local, and you just hear the sighs. Belo Betty. Lucci.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. You would come out here to the local, pay $10 and play this?
You sick freak.
Yeah, you need
sicko.
therapy.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. And then they flip over their leader. It's like Carrot or something.
Needs a whole different kind of therapy.
Yes, sir. Man, this one is tough because I've been on the receiving end of ass beatings for both of these decks for sure. But I feel like Belo Betty, Oh man, I was gonna say Belo Betty might have the edge here just because people generally hate losing to Karasu 8 lead, 8 lead, 8 lead, 8 lead.
8 into 4, 8 into 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more than I shrink here, I pop here. Lucci,
third grade math.
Yeah. But honestly, I think I hear more hate for Lucci than I do for Betty overall. That might just be because Lucci is a bit more prevalent of a leader, more popular of a leader. More people will be playing this at a regional level or even at a local level. So we just hear more hatred for Lucci over Belo Betty. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Lucci dominates this matchup in terms of hatred. Yeah, I think,
and in the actual matchup.
Yeah, the actual matchup as well. Yeah.
From like OP07 when he was released all the way into OP09, and he was just so dominant, right? And then by the time we got the bans for Lucci, we were like, okay, finally. We all take a breath of relief from this.
You're talking about the first
guy.
ones, right?
The
and
first
yeah,
one,
okay.
The first
just
one.
making sure.
The first
just making
one.
sure for anyone.
Like, oh, okay, he got hit. We'll be fine. He comes back. He's actually better than ever.
Oh my
He's
God.
even more dominant. And then more bans happen. We all go, okay, he's dead for sure this time. We double tapped him. Bam, bam. He's
this
gone.
Time, it was a double ban, right? Ice Age, Moria ban. Lucci's for sure dead.
He's for sure dead. Tops the next regional.
Is
he still there?
Again? He's still here?
He's still in the room with us.
Oh
we
my
need a seance. We can't do anything about
May the
this guy.
power of Christ compel you.
He just won't die. He will never die. It seems like no matter what you ban out of this guy, he just keeps coming back. And for that reason, Lucci is probably one of the most hated decks, I think.
I think so too.
Of all time.
Yeah. What do you think about this one, Hayden?
So it's pretty close for me. I think these are within the same weight group for sure.
Oh,
right?
okay.
I don't think either of these are like in top 4 for us. We'll see. But I think that they are similarly. Obviously, from my point of view, every meta. Hey, you forgot to put Betty on the tier list. Where would it rank? Like it's just
That's
every
true.
meta. And that's fine. And I know people believe it, but it's been like 5 metas of it. And this is the exception. This is, I think, the actual meta where it's competitive at a higher level, but every meta it's just like, oh, is it viable? Oh, I went 4-0 at my locals and I won. Is this the leader good? And I'm like, I don't know, like it's just we're just not seeing it across like an 8 or 9 round tournament, right? That's where like usually I try to put my tier list, right? But that's always been the thing where it's just been the like people really believe in it and they play it, and I understand why, because it's also like an easy deck for people to get into. It got support in OP09, right? So a lot of people were like doubling down, like, oh, is it finally legal?
I think it like randomly, I feel like Rev Army is just an archetype that just keeps getting cards from every set. Yeah, for whatever reason, they just in every set there's just always one random Rev Army card that they add in, like EBO2. Yeah, here we go. There's another one. They printed like a 2K or something for it.
Yeah, it's like a Sabo or something.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the non like red, black, yellow Rev Army cards, they're still printing Rev Army. It's just like, oh, this is a blue Rev Army. Like, what is this for?
Yeah.
So,
but I think Lucci probably wins it. And mostly because I've definitely been wrong about that leader countless time against restrictions, right? Like the thing on the first hit, I'm like, oh, it's still going to be viable, but like, it's not like gone. It's kind of in the middle. And then it was still clearly one of the better decks. And then like I was like surprised how much like it's just Rebecca, right? 4-drop Rebecca is the crazy card. And
that card is crazy.
It's going to be tough to just power creep Lucci as like a generic leader, because both the effects that it gets on no Dawn investments just very good. So but yeah, specifically into this meta, I put it as like experimental. Like I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Like I feel like it has some tough matchups and people are like, oh, it's still the best, like don't worry about it. And then I had it like a 128 person tournament and it won it, so like that makes me feel bad too. So I think that Lucci's going to probably win in this. My point from this one. But it's close. It is close.
Hayden brought up an interesting point that I didn't quite think about, because I was with you here, that I thought it was pretty close. Belo Betty hatred, Lucci hatred, both pretty high, honestly.
Yeah.
But nobody hates the Lucci deck more than the Lucci players themselves. Oh, I milled my Isho, I milled my Moria, leader ability, Moria. I'm gonna shoot myself in the brain.
Yeah, actually, compared to the other deck that I feel like people have self-hatred for is Shanks. Like Shanks, every Shanks player inevitably has a crash out. Lucci, same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, what happened to you, man? You went like X3 or whatever.
Yeah, you were undefeated going into round 7. What happened?
So I played. It was a good matchup. It was Boa. I swung 5. And I milled 2 more.
This one seems a little bit specific.
You want to tell the story, Josh? This was the last that he ever touched the deck, by the way.
Yeah, so I was playing. Man, I can't remember. This was a Pasadena.
I think it was Pasadena again, yeah.
It was a Pasadena regional for OP07. And I was playing Lucci at the time. To give you a bit of context, in OP05, I played Purple Luffy, and then in OP06, Purple Luffy kind of phased out a little bit. I went to Moria, and then 7 came out. I was like, okay, let me just play the other black deck, right? Not really knowing exactly how Lucci was going to play out at that point.
And with Moria, you're used to milling and getting things back, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, Lucci's kind of the same thing, right? I'm milling cards. I'm using my trash. I'm removing things on board. It's a control deck. I've played Rebecca before. It'll be fine. It'll be perfectly fine. I am X2 into my win-in for day 2 top cut. And I was talking to my friend. I was like, man, I have to win this last one to get top 32 to make day 2, and I'll get my invite. But I have been seeing kind of just like a lot of tough matchups. I see a lot of BYs around here. Like I'm seeing some tough stuff. And he goes, well, what matchup do you want to see? Oh, me? I would love to see a Boa. And he goes, oh, actually, my friend just played a Boa in X1, and in
X1 and he won.
In X2, in X2, and he lost.
Gotcha.
He lost to the Boa, and I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be funny if I queued into that exact Boa, the only Boa on this side of the hemisphere?
And boy, guess what happens?
Next round pairings are up. I check my pairings. Okay, it's this guy. I can't remember his name. I sit down. He sits down, and my friend who I just talked to, Shane, he sits down maybe like 2 seats away from me. I'm in between Shane and Adam, and he starts popping off. Shane goes, oh my God, your dreams came true. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? Why is he screaming like that? My opponent flips over his leader. It's the Boa he was talking about. Oh my God, I'm in the driver's seat. I've got Ennia's Lobby. I'm powered up. I was like, I can make day 2. I can finally play. We play the game. It progresses. Man, I'm not seeing my stage. I'm 30 cards deep. I haven't seen my stage yet. And it progresses to a point where the guy has like quite a big board, and I've been spending a lot of resources trying to remove it. And the game progresses to a point where I have like 2 life. I think I have like 3 cards in hand or something. Oh no, I have 3 life and like 3 cards in hand. And his lethal swings are 5, 6, 6, like the most pathetic lethal swings of all time. I have no counter in hand at all, right? They're just bricks. And he goes,
as Lucci do.
Yeah.
Like he goes like 5 lead. Take. Oh, it's a stage. That's fine. That's where all my stages are. That's fine. It's fine. It's 5 lead. Oh man, I have 4 cards in hand. Okay, take, right? Damn, stage again.
You didn't trigger it that second time for dominance?
I could have honestly, I didn't, but maybe at the time I should have.
Yeah, just to make him worried, like, oh, he's getting cards out of his hand.
Yeah,
he's
right?
so confident about taking these.
I should have done that, right? and he goes, it was like 5, 6, 5, 5, 6, 6. I don't know, 3 life. And he goes 6 lead. Okay, take. My 3rd stage was my last life. Is this a joke? And he goes 6 lead. I said, you got it. I have 6 cards or 7 cards in hand, all bricks. And the guy goes, oh my God, I finally beat a Lucci. And I wanted to just absolutely blow my brains out. It was so crazy. And then Adam was sitting next to me. He's like, that's tough, man. That's not what happened. Shane is watching over my shoulder. That was crazy. Oh man. And then I think that event I finished like 50th or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, oh, I think I remember a Boa finishing top 32 in an event. Like I remember making the pie slice. I'm like, oh,
I think
that
it was
off
me.
the back of him.
Yeah, that was off of me.
Yeah.
And I still will not live that down. Like every time I queue into a boa, they're like, remember that time? Yeah. There's 3 stages in your life.
One of our playgroup guys loves boa, so it happens, semi-frequently, and every time he queues into him.
Oh, he's my legit demon. Sean is my actual demon. Yeah, I cannot beat that guy for whatever reason. But Lucci moves on. Lucci moves on. Next up, we've got Blue Black Sakazuki versus OPO1 Red Zoro.
Okay.
I think this one's kind of close.
This one, again, we gotta go back to the ancient archives and bring back the good old memories, because I feel like these days when people think about Zoro, they're like, it's annoying, but it's not that bad. And
then they
just
don't gave
remember
him the animal package.
Well, even with the animal package, like people are like, oh yeah, he's annoying. Yeah, sometimes he just high rolls you 666 and you explode. And so some people have some hatred, but back in the day, Zoro, my God, that was a different beast. We didn't have the same tools that we have today. We didn't have the removal that we have today. Back then, when Zoro swings at you like that, you just take it. You're just on the firing squad waiting for all the hits to happen.
Did they have 2K counters back then or no?
I'm not sure if they were invented. I think they were invented in 1988.
Yeah, when were 2K counters invented? When did God put 2K counters in this card game? That was before Zoro. He split the seas, this guy. I don't know. Yeah, Zoro was definitely annoying, but I feel like I hear people hate on Sakazuki quite a bit more. But then on the flip side of that, all the Sakazuki players all talk about how it's the greatest leader of all time.
Oh my God, what a rush.
Yeah,
that was. As a Sakazuki player, I'm still dealing with the rehab of the effects. I'm like, man, I've missed drawing a card. Discard draw. Ooh, it was so
for free?
Good.
For free?
It was like playing, I literally feel like a meth addict.
Did you say addict?
Yeah. I was addicted. I'm a meth addict.
Yeah,
and
meth addict.
I still pine for those days.
Yeah.
I have just the most wonderful dreams about those days. And so yeah, you're right. Sakazuki might have haters, but oh man, the lovers.
He's got lovers too.
The lovers.
Yeah. What do you think, Hayden?
So a couple of things. There's a lot to unpack, I think, on this one. So
yeah.
Zoro's.
I'm getting my hate raid ready.
I like Zoro because he's literally the first leader. It's like OPO1-001. Like it's the easy one to remember whenever you're doing stuff, right? He's been around forever. I've disliked him because I think that he was overtuned. Like he needed to be either like Straw Hat or Slash characters or something. But he's just been around for a long time, and I don't remember what event it was. I think it was like a Peoria event. I think it was like OPO6, but there's like this realization that like we are in like a new wave of players because Zoro was phased out, but then someone was playing in Zoro and they didn't know that Makino was an activate main, not an on-play kind of effect. So they didn't get rid of the Makino, so they tapped it again. So I'm like, oh, there's a whole new group of players who have never played through OPO3, OPO4, right? And this is like OP6, OP7. So
yeah.
That's definitely, there is that generational divide of like people did not play through these first year of the game, and so they're like Zoro's just an okay leader, right?
Yeah.
And they've generally, I'm gonna guess, heard more horror stories about Sakazuki because he has been banned, right? I would probably lean a little bit more to Sakazuki because he is banned, but a kind of twinfold of one. People who are like, oh, he should never have been banned, and also just the people who are saying, oh, he's getting unbanned this week. Like, rebuy the leaders. He's coming back. Get ready. You guys are not ready for bringing back.
There's so many of those.
I know. As soon as people talk about like, oh, they might unban something, all the Sakazuki lovers come out of the woodwork. Pack your Hound Blazes. Pack your Sengokus.
Yeah.
We're going swimming.
Yeah. It's so crazy because they're not even announcing like new ban cards or whatever. There's just some conjecture on Twitter saying, the Bandai Twitter account goes, we're gonna have an announcement on July X of this year, and they're going, Sakazuki's getting unbanned, guys.
And then you see the TCG market spike.
You do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're just like, PRB2 is coming out.
It's just like, man, Ice Age is gone, Moria's gone. Like he can exist in this format,
right?
And that could honestly be true, but I've also been covering Bandai card games for like 10 years at this point. very, very, very rarely unban something like the whole like America meta ban list stuff. That's its own new thing that they've abandoned at this point. They say, and we're getting a unification, but like in Dragon Ball Masters and Digimon, in just a lot of their games, they just generally say, that card was just poorly designed or was not into our game space. We're just going to print something else, right? And they did that with this because they have another Sakazuki, which is clearly a little bit worse.
Yeah,
just
a little bit.
Just a little bit worse.
But, I think Sakazuki's probably a little bit more hated, but again, my curve is just like people who just keep coping on that it's coming back,
100%,
or that it could come back, and I'm just like, I've washed my hands, I'm good.
Yeah,
like, I just want to keep moving forward.
It's funny that you say that about your previous point about Zoro too, where there's a new batch of players who've like never played against Zoro before, so they don't really know like what he does. I feel the same way. Kind of an anecdote, but I feel the same way about new batches of players who've never played against Whitebeard. They have no idea like how that deck functions at all. We're kind of blessed on the west side because we get JCM, the GOAT Whitebeard, right? We play against him a lot, and he just plays that deck to the ground. He'll never let it die. Rice cooker winner, uncut sheet winner, 6-time serial winner, JCM with Whitebeard and Whitebeard. Well, he did with Enel a few times.
With Enel, he won One Piece Day with Enel. Yeah,
yeah. The rice cooker was secured with the Whitebeard. Yeah,
that's what's important.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh wow, there are actually just a lot of new players who have not faced the wrath of these red gods.
It's very funny because it's always the same way. They're like, they see the leader, they read it, they're like, okay, yeah, a 6 leader, a 6 life. Okay, I mean, okay. But he kills himself, so whatever. He's at 0 life. I've got this for sure. I mean, yeah, he's got a couple Donna, but how much counter could he possibly have?
This is so funny because when I first started playing in the kind of like near the middle of OPO4, I was playing Rebecca, and my first local ever, I queued into JCM in the finals. Right, I didn't know what any of the cards did. I don't know any of the cards at all, and. He went down to 0.
Flex? Huh? Oh, it was just a little flex.
Oh yeah, a little bit. You know. I don't know what any of the cards did at all. I think I just had a really lucky bracket that day. Everybody was playing GP Doffy, and that matchup is like free for Rebecca.
Oh yeah, that matchup's terrible.
So I beat just a ton of GP Doffys, and then I queued into John in the finals, and he goes down to 0. I have the big restand Luffy on the board. He's like 2 Dawn open. I was like, how many cards do you have in hand? He's like 17. and then I'm like, how much counter could he possibly have? Like, he's just dead, right? I just go King Kong gun, attach all my Dawn onto the guy. I swing, and he goes, I'm like, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how much that was. I was like 27 lead. He just like 8, 12, 19, 22, 27. 29. And I'm like, what the? Yeah. What? And I was like, yeah, you got it, man. Like, what the heck is this deck, man? I had no idea what was going on. Needless to say, I got my ass beat a few times for sure during that format.
Yeah, everyone has to learn at one point or another.
I got my lickings in. Yeah, I got the lashes in, man.
Yeah. One more thing, I don't think we said this too, was that we're using Zoro as kind of a stand-in for Also Law and Newgate.
That's true. Yeah.
If you guys weren't around for it, like these leaders were just clearly like. Set 2, 3, and 4, like half the first year of One Piece, despite it being like panned as a really good year, was just people playing those decks. And so I was to the point where I'm like, I am so tired of seeing this. I think that these cards should be hit, and I had like a 50% hit rate, but like the day after I released that video. Bandai announced like a emergency ban list or something.
That's right.
They watched the Eggman video,
and that's the meme. And people always think that I have more connections than I do in that space, and they're like, "Oh, Eggman got this card banned," or like it was so a lot of people on the surface level is just panned as like, "Oh, Eggman like hates Whitebeard. He hates the red leaders and everything. Like he's just so against it. Like he was able to pull the strings to get these cards hit, right? So I think that like Zoro definitely has cooled off a lot in the last little bit, but OPO5 Sakazuki was the savior for a lot of people because
I think so.
Rob Lucci was able to get rid of Zoro, right? It was a shift in the meta where the best 3 decks were not red. It was Enel, Purple Luffy, and Sakazuki. So he was a savior for a little bit, and then he got banned like 6 months later or whatever. But
what's the quote? You live long enough as a hero to become a villain or something.
Yeah, something like that. You live long enough to either be the hero or become the villain or something like that.
Someone's got it. Yeah.
But I do kind of buy into the narrative, the conspiracy. Eggman got Raigo banned. Eggman got Raigo banned.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
Bandai connections.
Mm-hmm. They were all ready to ship without it, and like, hold up, one more. You forgot one more.
Look at here, timestamped 1302 Eggman video.
Yeah.
He talks about Raigo. Guys, what are we doing?
What are we doing here?
So, what are your guys' votes for here? I'm a little split.
I'm pretty split too.
I'm really down the middle because honest to God, Zoro from the beginning of time was like so hated back then, but I think it probably does have to go to Sakazuki. I think people are deathly scared of that man, and I think for that reason, like Zoro now, he's just kind of like a scrappy underdog. Like people don't hate him in the same way, but like everybody who lived through the Sakazuki era tells stories about the Sakazuki era, you know?
One last caveat. So he was banned, I think, like April 1st of like 2024 in Japan, right? It was announced. It was
April 1st is very funny.
The world's format, the top 4 was all Sakazuki. And then like 2 minutes after the game fan, they're like, hey, we're banning this leaders.
Yeah.
But this was the last ban list that was asynchronous. So in the sense that we didn't get it early. So
oh, that's right.
They knew the card was good. They knew it was ban worthy, and they're like, "You guys will have it for 3 more months, and then you will get it." And it was miserable for me because I'm like, "Man, we could have had such a cool, unique format." Like the first EBO once that came out and didn't really do anything. I'm like, surely they'll put it in for that one, right? And I think a lot of people. There was one weekend where like the new set wasn't legal, but the cards were banned, and that was a really, really cool like day one format, and so I wish that was realized. And we've gotten that moving forward. I think they've decided to do that moving forward, which is good. And obviously moving forward, that won't matter that much anyways.
Yeah,
but
global release.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sakazuki, that's the one I'm gonna say.
You're gonna say
I'm gonna say Sakazuki. Yeah, it's very close though.
Yeah. I think I'm also gonna say Sakazuki as well because of the whole point you brought up with the heroes and the villains. I feel like Zoro started off as the villain, but now is kind of like a hometown hero leader, right? Like people kind of when Phil makes top 8. You know, he won his like 19th cereal with classic Zoro. People are like, dude, Phil's the GOAT. He's the Zoro GOAT. We love that. But Sakazuki was just the villain. He's never had his hero arc.
No.
It was just like in the beginning, they were like, oh yeah, we're finally done with the red nonsense that we were dealing with. Oh God, what have we done?
Yeah.
Go back. Go back.
So I think I'm with you here. We're just gonna move Sakazuki on. All right. Sakazuki,
dude,
more
this
hated.
Next matchup is insane.
This one's a crazy one.
This one, like in game, very close matchup. We have BY Luffy versus Enel.
Oh my
god, these are heavy hitters.
I'm gonna get us started here. This is tight. It's very tight for sure. And I might have a little bit of bias because historically I've played a lot of Purple Luffy, and Purple Luffy's always kind of been good into Enel. So I have never really had too many gripes with Enel, but I totally get people's hatred for this leader. Last life, beige, they heal. Oh, 0 cost. Oh, now I have 2 more life. Like, it's just so annoying to play against, and I get it. But BY Luffy, 9K leader, impenetrable stone wall. Get the Mongolians out of here. No one's getting in.
Yeah, they build the Great Wall of China of 9K, and like, no Mongols are getting over that.
What do you get? Genghis Khan? That's a bad matchup for Genghis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a close one. Generally speaking, too, these are, you know, if you go to your first locals and you're just picking up this game, if you play against either one of these players, you're like, oh, I just hit them. That's how the game works. And you're like, oh yeah, oh no, please don't. Like, okay. and then you're just like, oh, why do you still have 1 life? Or like, oh, you get to heal 2 life. Or like, it's something where, first time you see it, you're like, man, these decks are dumb. Like, why are these existing if you haven't played them? And then you play 50 more games, you're like, nope, these are still kind of dumb. Like,
yeah, the bell curve of understanding. You know, like when you first play them, oh wow, this is such a dumb leader. Like what? Like they do weird stuff with the game mechanics, and then you're like, okay, I'm like learning how to play into it. Okay,
this is a cool deck.
And then
Combos
you start to learn. You start to learn the matchup, and you're like, oh man, this deck is so dumb.
I think my vote here is for BY Luffy. I think it's
really.
I think BY Luffy is hated more than Enel on the streets, and I'm street certified.
I am surprised by that because I think the opposite.
Really?
I actually think BY Luffy might have been more hated by competitive players more so than like your casuals because I think in the casual streets, Enel is just. I mean, everybody hates this guy. He's got wanted posters in every local, every LGS. People are like, yeah, remember that one time you beiged me out of life?
Yeah.
I haven't forgot.
Yeah, I do agree that it's really close. I think maybe what it kind of breaks down to is that I think most locals will have an NL player, if not multiple, like a group of them. And so it is very tough for you, even like especially this meta, right, for you to not jump into and play the matchup, right? BY Luffy is a little bit more skill based, so like some people locals either they don't have one, or the person who's there still learning it, or isn't as like competitive as like some champion players with it. So like, oh, it's a good deck, but I see this flaws, or I can pilot it, and I think that it goes a little bit more to an Enel because of that too, and. When we got EBO2, we got the 10-drop Enel. Like we got the new rage of like, oh, why?
Yeah, why this leader?
Yeah, oh, it's a 12k rush card and it heals, and like I definitely feel like there's more loud, at least, outcry for Enel than BY.
You know what's so funny? Actually, I said BY Luffy, and then you were telling your story about how people just have generational trauma against Enel. Mm-hmm. I want to tell the story about how Xell was playing just a friendly, casual card game with his girlfriend. And she was playing green.
Still
Uta.
girlfriend, right? Still
together.
Okay,
wow, that's girlfriend.
Keep her like just.
Yeah.
I don't even know the story, but I know the road you're on.
She was playing green Uta, and he was playing yellow Enel. For some reason, this sicko decides to play yellow Enel against her.
I was like, I don't know. It seems like a decent matchup for Uta.
Yeah, seems like an interesting matchup. Yeah, and she was punching him, and he was healing, and she was punching him, and he was healing, and then. She told me after this that she was just crying, just in tears, just bawling, playing the game like, why are you healing? Why do you have so much life? Enel literally made her cry. So I think just by that, Enel has to win.
I would not be surprised if Enel has caused a breakup before. I would say.
I bet you.
Yeah,
She was in a dark place that day.
I was like, this could be a fun thing that we could do together.
Yeah. Hey, honey, let's play One Piece.
Maybe we shouldn't play anymore, huh?
So I think I'm with you guys there. I have never heard a story about BY Luffy causing a breakup. So
I think like BY Luffy, like you can still like softball like a game. Like Enel, it's just like
it just happens.
It automatically happens.
Well, I'll trigger this Kiku Nojo. So I guess like you're at 3 life. That's your fault, I guess. Like.
Oh man. So next up, we've got Queen versus Shanks. So kind of a little bit of an underdog Queen, I think, versus Shanks, which has been very prevalent as of the modern era of One Piece. And I kind of want to bring up the point that you brought up earlier, was that nobody hates Shanks more than Shanks players. I don't even think anybody hates to play against Shanks. Who is the most hated leader in One Piece trading card game? Why is Shanks mentioned? Because the entire player base hates Shanks.
And Shanks is a popular deck.
Yeah.
So,
I've never met a single person who's like, I play Shanks. I love Shanks. I play Shanks. I want to blow my brains out. I play Shanks.
I've seen it, like there's some people in OPO9 like, it's an up and coming, it's a fine deck, right? But yeah, I 100% agree. Like Bonney players like hate themselves sometimes. Like Shanks players, like I think you said it, like they crash out on a weekly basis at times. Like, man, I saw no counter, and I got I didn't see my silvers on curve. Like it is a very tough deck to play consistently. And when you're on like 9 rounds, like 1 or 2 Shanks are going to get like the perfect curve out of like 100, but you're not going to be that person like more times than not. So it's very tough to be I think a consistent Shanks player because of just how the deck works.
Yeah, and what's funny about that, it's so funny to hear you bring it up because I feel like Shanks players sometimes they delude themselves. They're like, oh, I think I figured something out in this matchup. Yeah, I think okay, yeah, I just needed to do this thing. And then a couple of days goes by and
I hate this leader.
It sucks. And the difference was, yeah, you drew your Rayleighs that game versus not. I don't know what to tell you.
What did you figure out, brother? It's so crazy too because I think we've told this story on the show before, but I had never played Shanks before, and we were going to a 3v3 tournament, and Xell and I teamed up, and we
were both playing GP.
Yeah, this is for EBO1.
EB, yeah.
We were both
EBO2.
Oh, I'm sorry, EBO2, and we were both. We both played GP at the time, and in 3v3 format, you're not allowed to play the same deck, right? It has to be 3 different decks. So we were deciding, like, okay, well, if one of us is playing GP, like, I guess you can play GP, and I'll play maybe like Shanks. Shanks is pretty good, right? So he built me a Shanks deck. I went to our local, I played Shanks. We timed it. It took me exactly 1 hour and 17 minutes to decide that I would never touch that deck again. I crashed out so fast. It was insane. How many cards in hand? 13. It is just all dragons. Like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I just died like a dog.
I brought Shanks once to a store regional, and I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I could high roll 5 rounds. Like, this is doable. Round 1, Ploofy, lose dice roll. That's tough. Okay, here we go. He swings 6. That's a dragon. 6. That's a dragon. 6. Leader 1K. Why is all my dragons in my life? I have bricks. I was like, okay, I'm gone, guys. Bye.
Yeah,
I just scooped.
Yeah,
See ya. Bye.
Yeah, he literally scooped and he just dipped. Yeah, it was so fast.
Take the deck, spike it into the trash.
Yep. I can tell the story because JCM's been doing very well lately. But he had like an identity crisis, right? He couldn't play Enel anymore, right? Even though like he just won like a pre-regionals, right? Like he's like, oh, Enel's doing really good, and then they get rid of Rygo. So he's like, all right, I don't think Newgate's good right now. I'll try the kind of red Newgate like leader Shanks, and he trained really hard. Like he practiced for it like a million times more than the most recent Florida regionals where he got top 8 without any practice, right?
Yeah, which is insane.
And he put a lot of effort into it, and he's just like, I hate this deck. Like, and I told him like, hey, you should play the deck that you believe in. Like, don't play Shanks. The deck is not it's very inconsistent. It's not your play style. I know it looks like it is, and but he plays with it, and we get like sushi afterwards, and I'm like, hey, so how'd it go? He's like, I'm never playing that deck again.
Yeah,
like we literally saw it on like the Facebook marketplace like the day afterwards.
He
like,
sold his whole deck.
He just put it on the whole thing, and obviously he's better for it for a lot of reasons. But I've seen that story like many times with Shanks. Just not again like playing against it. Yeah, some people hate it, and I get like it can be uninteractive sometimes, but people playing the deck just want to love it so much. It's like the car that you keep putting parts in, like start working, and then like there goes the carburetor.
I can fix it.
Yeah, it's like running on fumes. Man. It's just a jalopy. Yeah.
But on the flip side, we didn't really talk about Queen yet.
No.
And Queen is kind of a blip in the format, right? Because Queen came out in OPO 4. And I think this deck, people just don't remember it as much, right? But that was the deck that went to time legitimately every round.
Yeah, actually. Man, Queen, I don't really have that much experience with Queen, to be honest with you. I do know that I've played against it a few times, and it was pretty frustrating to play against, but I just don't hear very much, conjecture or conversation surrounding hatred for Queen. I just know it's kind of an annoying leader to play against, but I hear absolute pure distilled vitriol for Shanks.
Yeah, I think Shanks wins this for sure. I mean, between these two decks.
Yeah, I think without like I think the Queen's like the 16th seed, right? I think we needed not to say that the hate didn't exist, but obviously it was like a very short-lived one. But I definitely do remember a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this deck is dumb. Like it heals forever."
Yeah,
we've got Enel. That's the new deck that does that now.
Yep.
But the worst thing was like the mirror matches for those decks, right?
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine.
There's like no removal, and like it's always like, well, time's called. I'll heal one more time, and then I have more like, or like we get to like deck out situations because when you heal, it's off the top of your deck, so you're drawing like an extra card from it. So Like I would be hosting tournaments like, oh, table 7's still going on. Oh, it's the Queen Mirror match. Like they hate each other. They're just like they're timing around. They're like, we know. So like there definitely is some disdain, but I think that's most even out. I'd say the only thing is that there's a new secret rare coming out of OP12 Kuma, which lets you heal, and then it turns into an 8 costs, which is the number that you need for Queen. I haven't seen anything happen from Japan for it, but it's the newest actual kind of support for the deck in a long time, so maybe it's coming back. But
that sounds gross. I hate that.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb because then on KO then it also heals one too. So like,
oh my god.
I mean, yeah, I think Queen just got their thunder stolen by Enel. Like literally, it was just a set after. Yeah, so it was like, oh my god, Queen just heals so much. Oh god, and now he heals even more.
You know? So I have a suggestion here, right? When your girlfriend flies in tonight, I want you to play a game, Queen versus Green Uta, and see if you can make her cry with that deck. if she cries with that deck, I'll give it to Queen. Queen over Shanks. We can retcon that. Yeah.
I was wondering where that sentence was going, and like I'm like, there's no good avenues. We'll just see where he goes with it. And that was definitely one of the worst ones.
So we'll give the W to Shanks here. And that was it for round 1 for our tournament bracket. Round 2.
Into our top 8.
This is our top 8. And we've got Yellow Katakuri versus Teach.
Oh, man. These are all... So, I mean, this is where it gets really tough and kind of nitpicky, right? I think the first round was pretty easy.
Yeah.
This one's tough,
This one is tough.
People, I mean... legitimate. I'm sure you heard this more than anybody, but Katakuri, again, people don't remember Katakuri as much, but people really thought that they were going to ban Tenmom. Like everyone was like 100% sure that Tenmom was going, and even after they announced the bans, they were like, it's a mistake. Tenmom should be the one to go, and like that sentiment carried on for some time. Like people had so much disdain for Katakuri, and I don't know. I just don't want. I don't want my decision to be based off of recency. But Teach just hasn't been around nearly as long for that same sort of hatred.
That's true. There just hasn't been enough time for people to build up just that amount of hatred for Teach yet. But it's pretty like direct. I guess the hatred for Teach. People just hate how that deck functions. It doesn't let people play the game, and I think his hatred is quite a bit more future proof. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's fair. Another maybe lens for it is that, you know, both these decks got star decks, right?
That's right.
And people, when Katakuri got a star deck, people are like, oh, cool. Like maybe it gets a star deck. People are like, why is Blackbeard getting why are they giving this deck more cards? It clearly does not need any more. So that gives a bit of an edge to it. And kind of a weird one. This could be completely wrong, just off the top of my head. I think more invites have been given to Teach than people with Katakuri, even though Katakuri has existed for a way longer time. I think Teach has been even the more successful leader of the two with 6 months. I could be completely wrong. That's just off the top of my head of
I think you're right.
Charts,
that feels right.
I think that's right. I mean, because Katakuri, I think the reason why I think Katakuri is kind of like a generationally hated leader is that it was never at the top of any meta, but was at the #1 spot for just complaints. Yeah. And I think that's why I'm like, man, Katakuri is hated. But you're right in that like Teach is not only hated, but was also a top tier deck. And I think that just adds to it. So even though Teach hasn't been around for that long, I do think maybe it hasn't hit the high highs as Katakuri in terms of hatred levels by the community. But I do think just now from here on out, like Teach will continue to be hated, you know?
I think so. Yeah. I think we could have children. Our children can have children. And the first words that'll come out of their mouth, God, I hate Teach. Yeah. Oh my God, no, please. What does activate mean? I hate this game. You know what I mean? It's just very future proof, I think. So my vote is also with Teach here.
Yeah, I'd say it's close though. I think for after this first round of like weeding it out, these could go either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Powerhouses.
Powerhouses.
Yeah. Okay, I'm down for Teach. I'm down for Teach.
All right. Let's go. Teach will move on over Katakuri.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, again, I played Katakuri, so I felt the hatred for Katakuri.
Yeah, firsthand.
Yeah, firsthand. And yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to think like, oh man, Teach is actually more hated than that deck. So, okay. Next round we have RP Law versus Blue Nami.
This one is actually pretty crazy. Like these might be my top 2 picks for what people hate the most. I think
these guys would definitely be higher seeds, like top 4 kind of scenario.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of vitriol for both of them. Obviously, Law got banned. Nami has not been banned, but it will rotate out maybe. Like
maybe
we're still kind of up in the air before it. But
Nami did get cards in the deck ban, right? Like Kabaji, like that.
Kind of, yes.
Right.
And has dictated a lot of card design in the future where it's like, well, there's like a 3-drop Garp 2K that says, oh, you bottom deck the 2 instead of trash the 2 or something, which Navy stuff would love that the cards be in the trash. But, I'm pretty sure like every time they've designed a blue card, like, can Nami use this? Is this? Are we giving Nami indirect support again? So,
are we breaking the game?
Yeah. But Law's kind of like the opposite where they're like, oh, we forgot that this leader kind of works with this Black Maria card. And, instead of future-proofing stuff, we're just going to ban the leader instead and not have to worry about it.
I mean, for RP Law, it was literally like any 4 cost and below had to be thought through the lens of RP. And I think that at a certain point, you just had to cut the cord, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's too much.
Pull the plug.
Whereas like Blue Nami, like, I mean, she utilizes blue cards well, but only very specific ways. So, but that being said, in terms of how much the community hates these decks, I think in some ways we talked about in round 1, I think RP Law actually gets saved by the fact that we never saw Black Maria RP Law. And I would actually give the edge to Blue Nami. Blue Nami just, again, kind of like Lucci in some ways, in the sense that like no matter how bad you think the meta is for Blue Nami, she finds a way. The players find a way.
Adam finds a way.
Yeah.
He does.
Adam finds a way.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there. I think you made a really good point in that we never saw the full power of RP Law in the West. And in the West, we have Adam Cisneros. So Nami doesn't get any better than that.
We see full power Nami on a daily basis.
Yeah, you could just drive over to Alhambra and you could see Nami full swing, full power. So I think you're right there. What do you think, Hayden?
I do think it's really close. I think like the only other thing is that I think like a lot of high level players would say that Nami is not broken. They accept it as like a leader in the game kind of thing. And at the same time they say, Red Purple like changed the game, and you could tell their opinions if they were playing the deck or not, right? That was kind of the, well, I hated Red Purple Law, but it won me a lot of money, so I can't hate it that much. So I think it's split. I think definitely people who dislike Nami are a little bit louder, at least. And I think the fact that people, if you lose to Red Purple Law, people are like, well, that's how the deck works, and they played it correctly, right? You could see that you can actively see their decisions. You don't see that with Nami, and that makes, I think, people frustrated.
That's true. It's like the visibility of decision making, right?
I think a lot of people assume like when they play against a Nami, they're just like playing on autopilot, like, oh yeah, just use counter events and then trigger things and you win the game.
That deck is hard to pilot.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Last anecdote. So I had Adam over, and some guy's like, oh, I can't believe he did this. He's boring matchup, and like you can tell like he is sequencing the bottom 5. And we talked about it afterwards. He's like, yeah, here are the last cards in the deck. We had like this whole conversation, but surface level people don't understand that. They think, oh, you just put it in the bottom deck kind of thing. Conversely, I had Justin over last week, and I was not paying attention. I put the wrong Law leader in the thumbnail, and people are like, oh, I got clickbaited. I wanted to see Red Purple Law. I wanted to see. People have turned the corner into liking the leader again for Red Purple Law in my mind a little bit, or at least want the bad promo to work out.
I forgot he got a bad promo.
But I think people would still rather have watched the Law game instead of a Nami game most times. So that gives it the edge to Nami for me.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. I think Nami moves on here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just generational hatred for this deck.
Yeah, people hate this deck.
I think overhated, and I think we all agree here on the couch that
this is like
overhated.
The popular vote versus the
personally, I don't hate the deck. I don't want that clip.
I love the deck. Personally.
And people who play the deck.
I might have taken it too far.
I've never played the deck. I'm actually, one of these days I want to pick up the deck and see how it is and see what it's like from the Nami's point of view.
It's very fun.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
I will say, like as a caster primarily, like I get to play the Nami deck when I cast it. So
That's
so I'm like, oh sweet, I get to play this game because it's. It's a little bit of solitaire at some point, but I don't think it's like a huge issue right now.
Yeah. Next up, we've got OPO7 Lucci versus Black Blue Sakazuki, the two kings of control.
This is crazy. This is a matchup of titans.
Yeah,
they kind of both represent like the color black, right? And in the sense like these two have always been sort of the premier control decks.
Yeah.
And control decks just in general piss people off. Like people just don't like, you touched my board, I didn't get to play the game, like all this stuff, right?
Yeah. Wow, you Ice Age my Khalifa, you know?
But I will say over time, I think you can't, I'd give the edge to Lucci, and part of that is that Sakazuki got banned, and so I think people kind of forgot. But also because, again, Sakazuki has fans. People love that deck. Nobody loves Lucci.
Nobody likes Lucci. Nobody does. Yeah. I can think of a single person. Can you think of a single? I can't think of a single person.
I can think of one.
I could probably scrounge up a couple names. Give me an hour.
I'll be right back.
But honestly, like I think this one's kind of has to be a little bit more recency based, but I think both of them are just represent the same time. This matchup never really existed. Like these never existed the same time for us in the United States. They passed the torch for for us, and I think there was like a couple weeks in Japan where both leaders were illegal. I can't remember outright, but generally speaking, I think it's really close. I don't want to be a tiebreaker for this one. I'll trust you guys. I think
I'm saying Lucci.
I'm also saying Lucci for this one. Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Because I can still be wrong about Lucci. I can saying that Sakazuki's never going to get unbanned. I think I'm pretty safe on that one.
That's true.
I don't think it's meta viable, and then wins an event or something.
I'm willing to say that Lucci, if he's ever good again, if he's just like meta prevalent again, and it becomes a problem, another black card gets banned. Rebecca gets banned. 3-cost Brook gets banned.
Well, it legitimately. I mean, this is really relevant because Japan had a finals. Nami got first place. Rob Lucci got second place. And you're like, what format is this?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
OP12, and then like earlier, like OP1 Zoro one. Like what is going on? I mean, these are all leaders that we put on.
Do you guys like that? That old leaders can pop up like that? I actually like that.
I do like it. Just not Lucci. Yuck.
Just not him. It's the human resources meme where it's like, oh look, Whitebeard top. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lucci top. Call human resources immediately. Sexual harassment.
Yeah. It's like the grid. It's like, I love it when old not you leaders talk. Yeah, so there's that. Next up, we've got Enel versus Shanks. Two JCM
I was going to say JCM in here.
Yeah.
JCM matchup. This one hands down's got to be Enel. No one, there's just no way. To me, and this is maybe just because I just see stuff about it, but nothing pisses people off like Enel. I swear Enel would be if before knowing anything, Enel would have been my choice for like top seed or top 2 seed. Like people are so frustrated with this deck.
So like I've seen your girlfriend cry playing against Enel.
You didn't see it. You weren't there.
I wasn't there. I have heard the stories. I've seen it in my mind's eye, right? But conversely, I've also seen Shanks players cry themselves from playing the deck. So I don't know. Like there have been tears shed on both sides of the table for sure.
So if I'm going back, I guess back to my method of like thinking about new card reveals, right? Like 10-drop Enel, people are like, this is stupid. Why did they do this? We're also in this weird meta where we got, Kingdom Come, Kingdom Went. So we didn't have like the full power EBO2 Enel, which was better in Japan, obviously. So we haven't been seeing as much of Enel lately. I think the other thing, like Shanks got a star deck, right? And a lot of people are like, why did this deck get a star deck? And then, but they're also conversely people like, it didn't really even get a star deck, right? It didn't. It is clearly of the 6 of them the one that kind of has like the least amount of synergy with the actual leader that it's supposed to support. So with that, like without it getting like support, I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Shanks is now the underdog again all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Who are kind of like, oh, we need to make it relevant. I put it like either low or not on my tier list because it didn't do literally anything in Japan. And people were trying to be like, oh, why do you think this leader's not good? It was doing really good for the last 4 months. Like there are a lot of 6K leaders, and it's big downfall. And again, it did not really top at all in Japan. So Yeah, I think that edge has to go to Enel for sure in my mind.
Yeah,
I'm
with
down.
you there. I'm with you
down.
there. Enel moves on, and with that, we've got the semifinals.
Oh, these are gonna get real tough now.
It's getting spicy out here. Semifinals, top 4. We've got Teach versus Nami.
Ooh.
These are some heavy hitters. This is a heavyweight. This is a title card.
This one is a coin flip for me.
Tickets
man.
are expensive to this tournament match.
This is what is it? Pacquiao versus Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know?
Otani's on the mound today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start to unpack this one because they're both kind of disliked, but kind of for different reasons. But some of the same reasons too. Of like, I can't play the game that I signed up to play. Right?
That's totally true.
I am not playing the One Piece card game. I am playing the Marshall D Teach game, or I'm playing the Nami game. Right?
That's
I'm not
such a good
playing
point.
My actual deck. Right? So that makes it really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, look at the top 4 decks that we have here. I think that's like a common theme across it is that like they're all decks that force you to play differently, right?
Yeah.
And people don't like different. So
People don't like different. That's true.
but between Teach and Blue Nami, wow,
Man,
this
is a tough one.
hard. I actually don't know who to pick. On one hand, I feel like Teach is a deck that people have been more or less forced to learn the matchup for, and they go like, oh, I have the rush cards, like, you know, to prepare for Teach. Like, people know that it's a strong deck, and so they prepare for it. But I feel like Nami, people just don't want to prepare for it, and they just complain when they see it.
That's true, yeah.
It has more of this like landmine effect where you're like, okay, I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm prepared for blue, purple Luffy, green, purple Luffy, Buggy, you know, Ploofy. I'm ready. I'm ready for Teach. Why am I queued up to Blue Nami? And then they lose, and then they go, God damn it. I can't believe. So I feel like Blue Nami has this kind of like surprise effect because no matter how bad it is, you just have people who will always continue to play it, and those people will sometimes just beat you. I feel like Blue Nami also kind of has this like Katakuri effect too, where they go, yeah, I played against Blue Nami, trigger draw 2, trigger draw 2, trigger draw 2. Yeah, I lost, man.
It's so funny that you say that too, because both of these decks are pretty trigger heavy.
That's true.
Like,
Teach, finger pistol.
Yeah, people
finger
complain
pistol.
about triggers for both of these decks.
Yeah.
So, but Blue Nami probably a little bit more than Teach.
Yeah, I'd say also if you consider how many people play each, like at an event, right? Let's say there's 5-12 people, maybe like 8 people and like 10, less than 10 people on Nami usually, and then but there's still like 40, 50 people on Teach. So like you were mentally saying, oh, Teach is around, I'm mentally prepared for it. If you're playing against a Nami, like you said, like that is, you're like, oh, I forgot how this deck works. I am not prepared. Like they got a good run. That's kind of nervous. I also. If they announced, hey, we're making a reboot starter deck, Nami is going to be rebooted. It's going to be back into block 4.
Oh my God.
Sales go for live Friday.
Oh my God.
Like people did not like Teach was getting a starter deck once again, but if they announce a starter deck Nami to reintroduce into the black format, because it rotates out, right? I think there would be a lot of chaos. They'd have to really make sure how they announce something like that.
I'm just trying to imagine what the hubbub would be like if they were, tomorrow they were like, yeah, we're going to release a starter deck for Nami. There would be riots on the streets.
Yeah, they'd be like, why are you doing this? No one likes this leader. So that mentality puts it in my head that probably Nami gets the edge on this one.
And then Adam wakes up to this news. Christmas came early. The Lord is real.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what? After all that, Blue Nami. I feel like
I think
that's like
Blue
the
Nami.
litmus test.
Yeah, right?
If tomorrow Bandai was like, this leader is getting a starter deck, how mad would people be?
I wonder how many people aside from the Nami players would be excited to see more Nami support. Is it 0?
It might be close.
Is it 0?
One last litmus test too. Nami players know, right? They're like, yeah, we get it. Like we've been playing this deck for a while.
Yeah.
We know people don't like it. Teach players are like, well, it's a fair deck. Like
They do say
they do that. Like, hey, we have weaknesses, and for the record, I believe all of this, right? Like, I don't have issues with Teach players, with Nami players, or the decks. I think they're all within the same realm of balance. But definitely the mentality for Nami players, like, yeah, we get it. It's a dumb deck sometimes. Teach players are still need to be convinced sometimes.
They downplay. They
so
downplay.
Funny
they
that
fucking downplay.
You're so right. Yeah. I absolutely I see the downplay on
Yeah.
Teach players, and it's crazy. So
You know what? I was gonna say Blue Nami, but now after hearing that, I'm kind of on board with Teach because not only is that leader pretty hated, I hate the players too, man. The players are so annoying. Why are you like this? Who made you like this? Nature or nurture? Who did this?
I play Teach in our 3v3s.
Yeah. And honestly, you did so good. You did so good.
Which is another notch for it being a bad leader if it can carry you, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you went undefeated.
That was crazy. I played against like 5 serial winners in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were all just amazing matchups for
2
me.
Vegapunks.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was tough.
Crazy.
I'm still on I'm on Team Nami or Team Anti-Nami.
Anti-Nami, yeah.
Team Anti-Nami,
all right. It's close though. I think the 2-1 got to game 3 is the
yeah.
Last game, last stock,
yeah.
Nami. We'll go ahead and submit that, and we've got the last tournament match of the semifinals: OPO7 Lucci versus OPO5 Enel.
Oh my god, I don't know.
This one is actually harder. This one is tougher.
This one might just be harder, yeah. Oh god.
Well, the real matchup is that like Enel just loses and you feel bad, right? That's been the tried and true in the real game, right? So, but I don't know. It's tough. I think it's like Enel kind of embodies everyone's hate with like yellow triggers and randomness in this game, right? So, Lucci does have randomness for it, but it's still like it's more calculated, right? They're like, well, I Ice Aged, I brought it back. Like it's more. It's smart randomness, I guess, right? And meanwhile, Enel's like, well, we're just both in the ride. We'll see what I get, and we'll see if you lose, I guess. Let's just, go for it.
But do you think that makes Enel more of the hero than the villain in this particular storyline?
The thing is, like, I feel like kind of like what Hayden was saying, they both just represent their color, like the hatred for black as a color in One Piece is embodied by Lucci, and yellow in the same way for Enel, but Enel has this sort of stigma that there's no brains attached to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't beat you, the Enel player, you just didn't trigger, and vice versa. You didn't beat me, your triggers beat me, right? And so I think that stigma gives people like even more hatred in their hearts for Enel.
I kind of want to bring up this a point, and this happened recently in like a Japanese championship tournament, right? Where I can't remember who he was playing against, but it was like a Japanese Enel player, and he was on the back foot, and he would take the top card of his life and he would rub it.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
I remember this. Yeah,
yeah. I've actually just adopted this. I rub my cards now for a bit of good luck. And I feel like everybody who was watching that match was rooting for the Enel player. I don't know if it was because he was on the back foot or because he was the hero between that matchup, but I think between Lucci and Enel, people tend to want to root for Enel more than they want to root for Lucci.
I will say on like the commentating side, right? It is, well, one is way easier, right? Because half the game plan for Lucci is looking through the trash. So
sure.
I'm like, I have no idea what's in the trash all the time, right? So the plays are, but as the Enel play, like if I'm a commentator, if I'm watching the game, like every trigger is like the casters get it, right? The viewerships, we hit that beige and like not just him, right? So I do get like the camaraderie of that part of it, but I also think that I don't know, like just what Enel got reject banned, it got Kingdom Come banned, right? Mm-hmm. We had also 3 cards banned for Lucci, right? So these are both leaders that they have to tailor around because they just gave him accidental support, right? But I think I'd probably still have to lean Enel in my personal.
Dang, more hatred for Enel.
Yeah,
hatred for Enel.
So you're the tiebreaker here, Xell.
This is so hard. Oh God, I think.
The community's on your shoulders here.
Yeah. A lot's riding on this. I feel pressured suddenly.
Instead of the angel and the devil, it's just 2 devils.
Yeah.
3rd grade math versus the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want to give the edge to Enel. Yeah, I think so.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just like I really think people. And sometimes Enel players themselves will say, like, yeah, this deck is easy. It just did its own thing.
That's true, yeah.
That's what JCM says all the
time.
time.
It is infuriating.
Yeah.
I will. So the other thing this is my own tangent. Like if you're playing against an Enel player and they hit a really good trigger, what do? They apologize. And that's the worst thing to me. They're like, you put that card in your deck. You knew this was a possibility. Why would you apologize for something that you are also secretly hoping for, right?
That's true.
That's where it gets me a little bit. Not this. I'm playing it up a little bit, but the fact that they put you in a bad spot and they apologize for it.
We're here to hate.
Yeah, I know.
There is a flavor of haterade dead. It's called Enel flavor.
Yeah. Lemon lime, baby.
Yeah. But I think I've personally have seen more people just upset about Enel specifically compared to Lucci, and that's where my lean goes.
Okay, cool. I think I'm down. I think it's very close.
Very close.
I think it's very close
sure,
to very hated decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Enel moves on, and we've got the awaited finals. Long awaited. We've got Blue Nami versus Enel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? I saw this coming, kind of. Like, I felt like these two would probably be my top 2 seeds, and they delivered. Yeah. Like,
man,
these two are so hated, and it's funny because both of them are like these like trigger associated decks. I feel like so one of the things I think is interesting about these leaders compared to say like BY is that like both competitive and casual players can complain about these decks, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because like casual players, they don't know what they're doing, but they see the outcome and they're pissed. Competitive players know what they're doing, saw the outcome, and they're pissed.
Yeah.
So like I feel like both these decks just harbor so much hatred. Okay, I'm gonna show my hand early here. I actually think the edge is towards Blue Nami.
Really?
Yeah, I actually think Nami is more hated than Enel, and I think maybe it's because of the bans, right? Like, Enel isn't as all-powerful as it once was, but I guess you could say the same for Nami.
Sure.
But I think that one of the big differences is, like, I feel like Enel, we've gotten to a point where the game is powerful enough where, like, triggers happen but you're not immediately out of the game. Like, yeah, sometimes you're forced to go for it and they get the triggers and like it happens, right? But like a lot of times I feel like people's like the power level of people's decks, like sometimes you're just able to shoot through it even if it's like not necessarily the best matchup for you. Like I feel like I've done that with Doflamingo, for example, right? Blue Nami, on the other hand, I feel like sometimes your deck is just ill-equipped for it, or you're just not even able to see the cards that you need to be able to deal with it. Like I feel like people are more upset with Nami because it attacks like a completely different axes than like normal One Piece. And Enel, despite everything, you're still playing normal One Piece, just a little bit of dice rolling on top of it.
Calling that normal One Piece is criminal. Is actually just criminal. That's insane. But also on the flip side, you cannot call what Nami does normal One Piece. That is not normal One Piece at all. I don't know. If I were to go next here, I'm just thinking about in a scenario where we're at World Finals. It's Enel versus Nami. Like, who would I be rooting for? Matchups aside.
Yeah, matchups awful. Nami wins at like 90-10.
Yeah.
We all
like
know this.
matchup aside, I think I'm still rooting for the Nami, maybe.
Okay, I'm trying to envision this, right? Okay, so Las Vegas, we've got the finals, we've got Blue Nami against Blue Purple Luffy.
Hey, you don't have to call it Blue Nami. We just say it.
It's
Adam. If anyone's finding that, it's Adam. Yeah.
Adam. Okay, I hear his music, his entry music. Yeah. Okay, he's marching down. It's like CEO,
Yeah.
At the boxing ring. Okay. Yep. Hey, he's sitting against Blue Purple. Who am I cheering for? I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I think I'd still cheer for Blue Purple.
That's crazy.
Some extra stuff from my side. One, there are always these times when commentating where sometimes I have influence on what match we get. Sometimes I don't.
Okay.
But when I do, I ask people, and people are like Blue Nami, but I will say generally I try to get like a Nami like maybe like once every other event, or usually that kind of thing. I can literally see the viewership drop. Like
wow.
or I see people go like, oh, Z's in chat or the whole thing. Like, and there are people like literally just like, this is boring to watch. This is not what I want to see. Like, this is it. Like Enel, as kind of mentioned, like, even though it's its own game, like on the surface, you're like, oh, well, they're still like attacking into each other, right? They're still playing a mildly normal game of One Piece, right? I would say that the fact that like people would refuse to watch Nami gameplay is an indicator to me that it's got a bit of an
Blue
edge.
Nami kind of like the Hungry Box.
Yo, low key, yeah.
Like, oh, okay, and then Enel's like, I don't know, Amsa or something, like, and you just have this miserable grand finals.
People like Amsa.
That's true. People like Amsa. I'm trying to think of like a good metaphor to Enel here, but I think Blue Nami being
like
Hungry Box. Wizrobe. Yeah, but people are hyped for Wizrobe, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of randomness in Smash, right? Like the most of thing is like Peach, right? They get like the bombs sometimes.
But people love the Stitch.
Oh,
they do.
It's HBox versus Triff. Oh my god.
The viewership.
So bad. But I think Hayden brings an incredible point there. I didn't know this, but if the viewership literally drops, the streets are saying we hate this.
Yeah. I think it has to be Nami.
It's gotta be, right?
It's close. And again, Nami doesn't represent anything besides Nami, right?
No. That's right.
Enel is like the entirety of the hatred of like randomest triggers and stuff.
Yeah.
But Nami still also has that as an identity for it. So
yeah, it's like that plus it being this deck with an alternate wing.
Because it's the same thing. Like Nami doesn't die, but not because it's leader effects, it's because you keep using your level of mellows and stuff. So I would say the edge. But again, like definitely these are the two I would expect with proper seeding to be in the spot. So.
Yeah.
And this was completely randomly seeded. There wasn't proper seeding at all, and we've still got the banger grand finals. This was a banger grand finals. But I think we have all decided that the most rotten tomato of them all, Blue Nami. Blue Nami.
We're speaking for you guys, though, not for ourselves.
Yeah, this is for the community.
Yeah, this is
if this was for ourselves, it would have been very different.
I think legitimately all three of us are not much like actual haters of any particular deck. But that being said, I think we landed on where the community would have landed.
Yeah.
I would love to know if you guys have any different thoughts. Did we go wrong in any of these rounds, any of these matchups? Let us know in the comments.
Were there leaders that we missed, maybe?
Stuff? Yeah. Is there a leader that we just entirely missed? So
if you skip to the end, which happens a lot in my videos, so I gotta. But we purposely didn't put purple Luffy because it's a newer deck, right? So I know a lot. There's gonna be a lot. Oh, you didn't put blue purple Luffy or green purple Luffy.
Purple Luffy.
Yeah, those decks are just like a little bit more recent, and a lot of people just don't like Giant, which is fair. Which I think we all think is fair.
Maybe we come back to this in OPO 16.
16.
Yeah. 16. We'll come back in OPO 16, and then we'll see how we feel about it then. Anyways, thanks for joining us, Mr. Eggman. Where can they find you?
It is Eggman with 1G, which I don't recommend misspelling anything because this SEO is terrible. But I've got my YouTube, my Twitch. I've got a website that I update way too often. But yeah, just mostly One Piece content, but we also do a lot of Bandai card games for Fusion World. Gundam's coming out next month, which I'm really excited for. And I don't think there's a day that goes by without me thinking about this card game. So
awesome. Well, go check that out, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. So anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
See ya.